But one of the things is like, what is the worst thing you think could happen? Like on another topic about DOR, like what's the worst thing DOR do you think could do in general, apart from like disrupt you, like put you in balance? Or what are the worst things you've seen if customers came to you and be like, yeah, I had a DOR experience?
Of course, yeah, I'll be really honest. So at the most base level, it causes disharmony, but at the highest level, in the worst cases, it can definitely kill you. And if I'm being completely honest, one of my best friends died from what I believe is deadly orgone energy poisoning. He developed a 23-inch tumor on his liver, and this is somebody who's perfectly healthy, the most happy person I've maybe ever met. Just one of the greatest people I've ever known. And so, like, if you're looking at it from like an emotional perspective, there's no reason why he should have ever gotten sick. And he went all over the world to try to heal, and eventually he just kind of gave up. And he's actually the person who told me about all of this. He figured it out what happened to him, and he told me about all of it. And then he passed away a couple months later. And so, his name was Taylor, and I always want to honor him because a large part of why I do all this work is because of like one of my best friends who passed away. And he thought it was because he was driving with so many pyramids built the wrong way throughout like 5G cities and stuff. He was on the road a lot for his work, and he traveled all the time. He was always driving, and he had a ton of pyramids on him like all the time, and he would drive through highly irradiated areas, and he believed that over the span of a couple of years it developed into a huge tumor. And by the time he knew, he didn't really, there wasn't much he could do at that point. And he really gave me all of like the foundation of why I do what I do. Like, he's the one who told me about eight-sided pyramids. He's the one who told me about a lot of this stuff, and I eventually, just put myself fully into it. And I'm like, I got to figure this out, because something is like seriously wrong here, And he believed it was from the deadly orgone energy from the pyramids made the wrong way. Excuse me. And another example is this guy named Leon Chomry. You can look him up. I think he's an Austrian scientist. Chomry, I think it's Chaumery. So Leon is his first name, and he was experimenting with deadly orgone energy while studying like different Egyptian artifacts and stuff, and he accidentally killed himself because of the high concentration of deadly orgone energy. So you're gonna need a lot of pyramids built the wrong way to do damage, but at the very base level, it's gonna amplify nearby radiation and cause disharmony over time. It might not immediately, just depending on where it's placed and what it's built with. There's many factors, but over time, it's pretty safe to say that it's gonna do something negative. And it also causes calcification, which I'm sure you've heard of. People say, oh, like,
Yeah.
People's third eyes are calcified or whatever. So that's like a common thing, and it actually does cause calcification, not just in your third eye, but in your brain and body. And all of the mummies in Egypt were actually built in the tombs that they're in specific proportions and ways that would actually encase the mummy in purely deadly orgone energy. And this was to preserve it, to calcify the body, to keep it like that forever. And it was to protect the tomb that the mummy was in. People often say, oh, these tombs are cursed. Well, in reality, it's just huge amounts of deadly orgone energy that basically made it like an energetic booby trap to anybody who goes into the tomb. And there's this one tomb in Egypt. Oh, I forget the name. I really wish I knew it right now. But you can look it up, and I'm sure whoever's watching would find it. All of these people went in to try to open this tomb in Egypt, and over 18 of them in a row all died. And then this one guy found this artifact in the tomb. It was a ring. It was a ceramic ring with like this specific sacred geometry shape. And the guy I was talking about who invented biogeometry, Dr. Kareem, he basically coined this shape of this ring and eventually turned it into a product. But anyways, the original archaeologist who found this ring, he was able to go in there and open the tomb and go in and out without dying or without any damage when he wore this specific ring. And so what this ring would do is basically cancel out any of the deadly orgone energy. And that's how whoever built the tombs, would go in and out without being damaged. And I believe whoever built them left that ring there for whoever would find it, so they could actually study it and not get hurt. And so now that doctor in Egypt has developed that ring into like his own product and sells it and claims that it gets rid of deadly Orgone energy and harmonize energy, which I absolutely believe is true. But yeah, so that's basically showing that specific geometry, built the right way can actually affect this energy and neutralize it, even if it's just a small ring. A little bit can go a long way. And yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. I didn't mean to go on so much of a rant.
No, it does. And one thing, I think it might have been Tutankhamun. I'm not really sure. There's so many pharaohs. There's so many nobles that were also like encased in those places. But I remember, I think The Mummy is a classic example of a mainstream film where it shows like all these people who opened the tomb, like they ended up getting their souls taken and sucked out and used for the mummy, right? So that's kind of like a mainstream film example of what he was saying.